All right, Jay, I think we are ready to go. Let me tag you in, mate. The people can hear us. I can't tag you in, brother. Just I'll do the tagging perhaps, after
Do another.
just I'll put
So you
Julian.
can always look for the replay button later
Yeah.
on.
Okay, I put Julian Bolling anyway. Hey. All right, folks. Welcome to another edition of A Drink with Charit. Another special guest in my house, and I'm so excited, to have this young man on the show. And I've been trying to get him for a while, and it's an absolute privilege and honor to have this Superman, and who have been a fantastic star, fantastic sportsman over the years, excellent swimmer, a great human being, and who had brought so much credit to this country in what he did, and he had really excelled in what he does passionately, bringing credit to the country, and been a star between, I think, from 1984 up to 1991, winning so many medals for the country. Absolute athlete, brilliant human being, good friend. Julian, welcome to the show, mate. I'm so thankful you are here. Good to have you on the show, mate.
Sharon, this is excellent. Thank you so much. First experience. I'm glad what you're doing is something good for the sport and for the country. So yeah, happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I mean, you're quite amazed that, I started this as purely as a hobby, and have boxed on for the last 2 months or so, and it's been a thrilling experience, I would say. I didn't know anything about this technical stuff, but over the years, over the past few months, that I have learned what to do and what not to do, made many mistakes, and so fortunate to have some brilliant guests like you on the show. And as we along the way, that I learned a lot, and just been thankful for everything, that for the sponsors and the people, the guys who generated for their generosity, that I didn't have money to buy all the stuff, and people came on board, and it's a brilliant story, it's excellent.
Stunning.
But first of all, Julian, I think that you and I, that when I left school in 1981, I think you were already you're a star. You at St. Thomas's, right?
Royal.
Yeah.
Parents couldn't afford the Tomin fees.
Sorry about it, but you're a royalist, and then you were excellent in swimming at school level, right? Then you went on to that. Everyone got to know. We knew who Julian Bolling was, but you I think you came to limelight with the SAF games, and where did it all start? I know that your mom's a great swimming teacher, and you tell us your family background and how you decided to become a swimmer, because not everybody and everyone plays cricket, rugby, and just general sports, but not many become swimmers. Where it all started, mate.
Well, I think first of all, Charit, I think looking back at my younger days, I must say probably I went into cricket before I went in for swimming.
Really? I didn't know that.
Believe it or not.
Okay, all right.
If you remember Julian Bolling,
yes, I
do.
The
late great.
Yeah.
He was a great, I think, good fast bowler who bowled for Sri Lanka or Ceylon back in the days, and then he used to run his cricket academy at MCA.
Yeah.
And there I was as a youngster. My brother was enrolled there, Jeremy. And I think I gave cricket a shot before anything else. And even before cricket, you know what comes to mind? I did some karate. So it's looked like I tried a bit of contact sport. I've tried a bit of, I wouldn't say a racket, but at least in this case,
moving ball. Yes.
Moving ball,
yes.
and whether I can get my hand-eye coordination.
Hand-eye coordination.
Glad that I tried all of them. I wasn't really searching for a sport, but opportunities come. I purely went because there were others going. So karate was about my brothers, my cousins, all of us used to go to Bonnie Roberts down Green Path from 5th Lane. We walk all the way across to Green Path.
Is Bonnie still alive?
Bonnie sadly passed away.
Sorry
but an awesome fellow. And, I love doing what I did because of the people. And, obviously I love the coach. Then there was Julian Bolling's one, which I did go for, and 2 reasons. I think karate, yes, I had to say no to it, because the moment Uncle Bonnie put me on stage to fight with another girl, became quite popular. I think she is popular in the local scene, but as a doctor, and and whatever. But I think basically what happened here on stage is that I got clubbed, and obviously
By a girl.
By a girl.
All right.
Fancy thing.
Brilliant story. Yes.
As a 10-year-old, you go through that. But I didn't say. I think I would have said no to karate soon after that incident. And it was at St. Peter's. There was a show, there, a regular carnival, and we did this karate show, Bonnie and the seniors, and there he was, put me with Maheshini. Yeah, I came up with the name. And we sparred, and then he put me on the ground, and there I was, splattered on the ground, and then she went boom, 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 which is not part of karate. But yeah, so that was karate. Then cricket, I think it was nice that I went for it, and I think everything was nice except I was, when the fast bowlers turn up to bowl at you, and you're like, maybe I don't like this.
But you were a batsman or a bowler?
I like to bowl, and I didn't mind facing a bit of spinners, but I didn't like the fast bowlers. So obviously, I would have said. And then later on in life, I used to still spin a little bit in softball cricket, and I still seem to do a decent off-cutter, but that's it. So I played one official match, which is the best memories of school is when you play inter-house in any sport. And I had the opportunity of playing for the house. I was last man. Now, last man, the 11th guy who bats in normally might be a bowler. I didn't even bowl. So I don't know how I got into the team, but there I was. And I think I remember we were bowled out for 40 odd runs. But my batting average is infinity. Donald Bradman can't get close to that because I scored 4 rounds and I was not out. So that's my... So, I mean, I'm glad I tried all that. And then swimming was also there. Friends were doing it. Parents never sort of forced us into anything. And my 2 brothers are in swimming. I was always the last to go in, being the youngest. 2 elder brothers, Jeremy and David. So there was a swimming world, and I started to enjoy that a lot. And I wasn't fast at all. I remember in my age group, you were talking about the early years, under 12, under 10. I don't think I was swimming under 10. I started quite late, later than my peers. And I was just part of the team, just no place, no nothing, but I just enjoyed the sport. And I just hung in there. And then progress came along, and then you started doing better. But I'm just glad. And when I look back, Charit, I think I did the sport mainly because I never had any ambition in sport, but I just loved hanging out with other friends and training together and just being part of a team, a community. And that was, I think, when I look back at the whole career, I always did sport because of that. Not because of any competitions or any big plans that I had. Those things came by the way. So, yeah, that's how I ended up with swimming. And that took me on till I was about 26 years old, which is quite old in terms of age for especially swimming, especially in our country. And yeah, it's been a good career. It's fun.
Brilliant story, mate. How from a cricketer and being a followed like after following martial arts, then you decided to become a swimmer. So at what point did you realize that you are exceptional, that it's exceptional talent? Is it because of the brothers' influence or your mom's influence, or you belong to a swimming family, or where did it all start to to fit into place?
I think if I look, what, that word exception, I never thought of it at all at any point. I mean, when you win a race, you feel good. When you swim a time that you haven't swum before, that means you've gone faster than what you've done before because of the training you put in. Those were the big reasons I did sport. And I didn't look at it as an exception. Yes, why I went on till I was 26 is because 1986, I swam the Asian Games, did kind of well, finaled again, 82 Asian Games I finaled. And my coach, Dr. John Prince, a Sri Lankan, proud Sri Lankan, based in the University of Hawaii, and I trained with him for a year. And he said, Julian, maybe you swam fast enough, now you can apply to some scholarships in the US. I was like, oh, really? So what I did was, then there was no internet and all that for sure. So I wrote to the top 10 universities in Division 2. Division 2 in the US.
Yeah.
And said, look, here are my times. And then I got about 3 offers. I obviously had to take the offer that has the biggest offer, because money mattered. And that was to a university in Pennsylvania. So happy, Clarion
So
University.
how old were you then? When you went to States?
Okay, that's interesting. I was 21. Now, in the US, when you graduate from high school, you're 18, 19. So
Exactly. Yeah.
as a freshman, I was 21 years. I was above the drinking limit, age limit. So I was the only freshman who could have a beer at a bar. But yeah, so quite late. And then that I was 25, 26 when I finished those 4 years at uni. And I came out okay with the degree, but interesting how that degree came around. But yeah, that's probably why I took that sport to till I was age 26, because normally in swimming you don't see so many people going on that late in life, because obviously it's an amateur sport. You got to think about your studies, job, etc. So there's no earnings, but obviously 4 years of university with the scholarship, you're semi-professional because they're paying you for your education, and you have to swim for them and compete for the university. So that took me till I was 26. And so I don't know, it's just not because every moment. So that was the last 4 years, but then till those 4 years, why did I swim? Okay, I was doing well, but I don't think I did it because I was doing well. I just love to hang out with people, and I love the training. I wasn't a good example of a good trainer, a guy who trained well, but I just love hanging out with people, and that was my escape. And glad it was there at the pool that I find my recreation. So
it's an amazing story. When you say, Jules, that just to tell you about myself, when I started playing cricket, and I think I was like more into, I was more into my academics, like I was in school than a cricketer, because I didn't have the physique or the strength. I was puny, mate. I wasn't like this. Yeah. Actually, when I played for Sri Lanka, I was weighing only 69 plus kilos. I was like flyweight. I was fit, but it was my dad, my father, who really pushed me to play cricket. I only played the game because he asked me to. Not that I had any inclination of playing cricket. But once I got into it's a team sport.
Yeah.
And just to tell you a very interesting story, this when I last interviewed Adam Holyoke, that he was on my show. Such a brilliant guy. He said a very interesting thing. Like, unlike any other sport, the cricket is a game. The amount of time you spend on the field and off the field with your teammates, he said you build amazing relationships. The friendships and which you carry on for the rest of your life. And I suppose even in swimming, although it can be an individual sport, but when you train together, and those are the values that we had. There was no money, that we were all we were amateur sportsmen. There was nothing. But then also going back to what you said, that so first you swam for Asian Games before you you excelled at surf at surf level.
Surf was introduced in 1984, the first surf.
Yes.
So obviously we waited, and I swam for Sri Lanka open. I was 13 years old, 1979. There was a triangular meet called the Indo-Sri Lanka Bangladesh. It's almost like a SAF Games, but it was only swimming.
It's a tri-nations.
So tri-nation, and each year one of the countries will host. So the last of the meets they had was in 1979, which we hosted at St. Joseph's. And I was selected. My brother was selected, David. We swam the same race. So he would have been about 16. My elder brother missed getting into the team, Jeremy, by one place, but that was just part and parcel of it. And so that was my first open meet. I was 13 years old, but when I was 11 years old, Charit, when I look back 2-3 years before that, I wasn't even in my school relating in my age group. So it was a kind of a sudden, jump. But like you said, if you were 69 kilos, gosh, when I was 16, mind you, as my mom would say, and there are pictures at home, when I was 13, I looked like an 8-year-old. I was puny, skinny. And the reason I remember, when I hadn't gone in for swimming, mom said, you know what? Because all my batchmates became stronger than me, bigger than me. Said, look, if you swim, maybe you'll put on some size. So I remember this, mom coaxing me into the sport. I had said no to the sport for some reason. I was like, no, I don't want it. So mom and dad obviously didn't force me. But she said, look, so she fooled me in that sense. Said, if you swim, you put on size. And that size didn't change for a long time. I was still a very small person. And at age 16, 112 pounds. So that's less than 50 kilos.
Yes.
2 inches shorter than what I'm now.
Yeah.
So I was so thin. And But I was okay in the water. I was gliding through the
Yeah.
water and swimming. I wasn't a power-based athlete. I was a middle distance swimmer. So I didn't have the sprint in me. My brother David was the same. So yeah, I mean, those international meets, everything came, but almost I didn't have a plan for something more than a month. I was just swim that day and see what is next, and then enjoy training. And in training, you tend to go faster. Like, yeah, this is kind of cool, and that just kept me going back. And then, like you said, it's oh gosh, not for friends, teammates. I don't think I'll do sport.
So it was you started with the Asian Games of the
So
Tri
the
Nations that
first international meet was 1978. What happened in 1977? The Indian age groupers suddenly appeared at our pool and swam at our age groups. So we were these local kids who were happy about beating each other, and suddenly they came and they swam circles around us. Luckily, they were in their own lane, but we were like, oh, there's competition more than this. So India then invited us to come to Bombay in 1978 and swim the Indian age groups. So about 20 of us went. We couldn't afford staying in hotels. So the entire Sri Lankan team, we stayed with families that were hosting us. And that was beautiful. And coming back also, I remember we had to catch the train from Bombay to Madras then, today Chennai, just to save on money.
Yeah.
And we all age groupers, no?
Yeah.
So that was the beauty of sport, that it was still very, very sincere. And in the Indian age group, we were three of us. Actually, within that year, we got thrashed a year before. Within that year, about three of us were able to win, if you want to call it that, in beating the Indians. So that also was like that first experience of something international. Indians came to town, then thrashed us, then said, come over to India, swim with them. Went to India, swam, and there's a few of us who did well. So that led to the 79 Indian, the triangular meet that I talked about. And then came the 80s, and probably the first, I was selected for the Asian Games, Delhi, famous super games. India hosted 1982. And okay, so there also I finaled. There's 80 of us athletes who went from all sports. It's almost like the biggest contingent that ever toured from Sri Lanka. 80 was a big number then.
Right.
We came back with no medals. The first time I think the history of the Asian Games, in Sri Lanka, we came back with no medals. But I was one of the 4 athletes who made top 8 finals. I was this little 16-year-old, quite happy with what I did, improved my times, and so that led to meets that were ahead. So
you didn't win any medals at Asian level? I thought you did.
No,
even.
South Asian, yes, that's the biggest issue. I mean, I wasn't medal hungry at all at anything. I was just the fact that if you have a chance to represent the country, you're like, wow, that's kind of cool. Let's go and see what happens. So sometimes at a bigger meet, faster competition, somebody's faster than you, you let it be, but you swim your best. So at the Asian Games, well, talk about medals. Maybe the closest I came to a medal, okay, I got 6th place.
Right.
3 finals, 6, 6, 7. So you have China, Japan, who were like pretty good then. So 2 athletes each. So there is 4 there. It was quite difficult to outswim them. And then there is a random Filipino guy who would swim faster than me, and I'll end up coming 6th, which is still not a bad thing. The following Asian Games, I trained quite hard, and I swam the silver medal times of the previous Asian Games.
Right.
But I was still coming 6th.
So the others have evolved, others have moved on.
I was, like I said, 4 years behind them or something. Yeah, so that's what you do. You just be yourself, and I'm a strong advocate today that and I think the All Blacks, you can learn a lot from them also, and talk about it, that you win. Winning is not in your hands. Others decide whether you're going to win or not. You just got to do your part and see how the others perform, whether it's in team sports or individual sports. I think it's not in our hands. It's a very interesting point, and there is almost like a point, Sharik, today. It's like, the fact that I am here in your show is because I won medals. And if I hadn't won medals, I would not have been here. We would have been buddies. But we put too much of emphasis on this whole winning thing versus, doing sport. And there's a lot of, it's researched in America that, you see, if you look at the Olympic Games, who's number 1? Who wins the most amount of medals? America.
Still USA. Yeah.
USA. China probably close second. Who's got the biggest stadiums in the world? The universities in the US. 100,000 seaters packed to the brim every time they play a football match.
Yeah.
The biggest professional sports in America. So it's the number one country is America because they are ranked one in every aspect.
I'm having a cup of coffee, mate. I'm sorry, I should be drinking tea. But
for a change, buddy.
Yeah, just when I have a cup of coffee.
Show the world we can still enjoy a good chat with coffee and water.
Yep. Good.
So, Charit, here's the deal: 70% of kids in America, now they're number one in the Olympics.
Yeah.
But 70% of the kids in America are quitting sport at age 13. 70%.
I think it's a global phenomenon. That's what exactly Adam Holyoke said, that taking the game to grassroots level, it's not easy. That the parents, especially a game like cricket, but the amount of the promotions that are going on to encourage youngsters to get involved in the sport, it's challenging always. Even in Sri Lanka, that you will see that the times we played, there was so much passion for us to play for school. And then if you are an outstanding sportsman, there were the companies who you had a better chance of getting into private sector, getting a job because you are an outstanding sportsman. But I think that trend is all gone now. So the parents are a little reluctant to allow their kids to play. I think all over the world it's the same. It's very difficult for a younger kid to get involved in sports. And I don't know whether it's the right thing. Everyone wants to be an academic, but the fact is all can't be academics. There are people who are born athletes, and they should pursue what their calling is.
But here's my thinking, Charlie. I think if you look at every kid is born, we are created to play. Why? Because you see babies, 3-year-olds playing.
Yep, it's a natural thing.
Animals play.
Yes.
Now the word play is where you and I think the most intense competition you and I have been in is probably the softball games we played.
Yes.
We had arguments, we had fights, only to come back the next day and play with our friends.
Yep.
Softball, don't you remember this?
Yep.
Softball is where we had the biggest arguments.
Yes.
Out, not out. Out, not out. Useless umpire. Big fights. And this whole world from a world of play, we might come into organized sport. And it changes us.
Yeah.
Because we want to pursue something. But we forget the play side of sport.
Yeah.
And yes, there is a 30% that wants to excel, wants to get a scholarship to a university in America, in our context, wants to get into the test team, want to get a job through sport. The forces are now big employers of sport, and that's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But it seems like we only gear towards that. There is a young kid who is saying, you know what, I don't want to excel in sport, but I just want to be involved in sport. Now, handling the Thomian swimming team, not sure how long that will be on. But there is a young boy, A-level student, JD. He's not fast. He'll never get into the Thomian B team, school B team, but he loves to hang out in the team.
It's a team man, ultimate team man. We had so many kids like that, who never made it to the club side or a national team. Some of the best buddies we had are the real team guys.
Yeah. So here's a kid who's saying, I love to be part of the team. Isn't that the 70% that are discouraged from going, and they're told to get away from sport, in a way from parents, coaches,
which is sad.
The schools. Now, here's the question. School wants a pool of 20 athletes or rugby players into their pool, and they have about 30, 40 kids who turn up for the trial. They're taking 20, we'll say, hypothetically.
Yeah.
Now there's a balance 20. As students, is it right to send them back out?
It's a tough call, mate. That's, like we always had that system. Like we have a pool of 40 guys, and only 20 would qualify and 20 always goes home. But, that's...
goes home. What I'm saying is only 20 can play in the division. Yeah. But those other 20 kids, if you talk about why do we go to school? It's for education.
Yeah.
Is the sport field, the sporting field that we are in, an extension of the classroom or not?
It is.
So then how can you reject another boy who...
So what would you suggest? How would you accommodate, everyone?
We have to sit and figure this out. Why do we do sport? So if it just depends on how we look at sport, what lens are we using? So if it's success that we want, at Royal College, it's the Bradley Shield that we want, then you get it. But I know my friend, batchmate of mine, his son, who started rugby at a junior age, had 16 of his friends who quit the sport because of the intensity.
Or is it because of the rejection, or
And in the intensity and the rejection, and
rejection.
the whole thing is that we adults are trying to live through these young kids.
Yeah.
If you look at it, so is our school sports programs an extension? Is it the extracurricular or is it co-curricular? We as coaches, I'm talking about not club level.
I hear you, mate. Yeah.
Are we coaches or teacher coaches? So this is what we have to start thinking, because there's so now Ranjit Fernando, friend of ours, we are part of the same club in CC. He said the best thing is to take the trophies out of the big matches. You will see enjoyment. There is no enjoyment today. Schoolmates of mine who are 50 years old, sad as ever when Royal loses the big match. No, someone's got to lose. Now, my grandfather, FCD Salem, in the cricketing world, right?
Yep.
He coached Royal when his son played for St. Thomas's. Isn't that the most beautiful thing in sport?
Brilliant. Now, you said a very, very important thing, the having taken the enjoyment out of the game. I think, all these, I'm not criticizing anyone, still people are passionate about, what they do. And the old boys getting involved in the two major sports, cricket and rugby. Yeah. And they're literally all the top schools, the both sports are run by a set of old boys. And the amount of pressure that they put on the kids, it's enormous. So I don't know whether the kids actually that they love the sport anymore. I mean, how many people want to absorb that pressure? As you said, part of the game is, yes, absorbing pressure, but and then also the enjoyment where it is, in life, everything. It doesn't have to be so hard, isn't it?
So now I've heard stories of a friend of mine. Son played first 15 rugby till the last year. The father said the day he finished his first 15 rugby, can't mention the school, and I'm sure it's happening across all schools. He said, my son will never play rugby again. He has a disliking towards it. What are we trying to do here? There is a trophy. Now, if you go back to our founder fathers of our schools, we got to figure out why did they form these schools, what was their visions, and we have to go back to grassroots level. Number two is we as adults started. I'm talking about school. I'm not talking of club. That's another matter. At school, these are students. S.W. Chang, you should get him on board.
Yeah.
He said one day, Julian, coaches, parents, stay away from children. Now today, for example, while coaching, I had 2 swimmers. Now this is what we want to do for next year. We're going to ask each of our students, because we are not a team sport. We almost like an individual sport. We are going to ask each child, what is it that you want to do next year? How can we help you? A child is going to say, sir, I want to move from here to here. And then I say, look, what can we do to get there? It's your dream. And if you can coax them to be better, that's different. But if I am to live that life, now one of our senior athletes had a tough year this year, had to go to courts because they were kept out of international tours. There was a huge fracas in the swimming world. And the other day now she had a small injury, so she hasn't turned up for training. And I'm sort of now like, she's one of our fastest swimmers, right? So now do I call her and say, hey, Vinoli, how are you doing? Sincerely. And also, when are you going to come for training? Because I want her to swim fast so that when she swims fast, I'm going to feel good.
Yeah.
Or is it sincerely her, hey, how are you doing genuinely? So that day when I spoke to her, I didn't even touch me. Now this morning, she turned up for training. She's going through some injuries. So it's just like either I'm going to live my life through that girl and say, hey, when are you coming? When are you coming? Oh, Vinoli, I'm here for you, man. What is it?
Brilliant. Great to hear that. Jules, going back, that the because you're a medal winner is not the only reason you are here. Just, you asked me whom I featured last week. That's, I told you it's an amazing story about a young kid who has come to Sri Lanka.
Repatriation. I love this. But he's born in Aussie, right?
Born and bred in Aussie. Yeah, come back, and he had played a bit of club cricket. And then he realized that there aren't any bat manufacturers in this country. And he embarked on this project, and what the guy went through, and how his first the order that he placed with Pakistani shipper, how he played him out and he didn't have money to eat. So he was literally talking about eating 6 stringhoppers a day and he kept on making bats.
Who left his world of paradise, greener pastures in Australia to come here.
Exactly. And the guy was educated at Monash University.
6 string hoppers a day. I love it.
That's a brilliant story. So I wouldn't confine myself only to the people who have made it to the top and who can inspire others. And I will also bring people who are coming up, the young lads, who can make a difference in this world. So that's
when you're a personality, people might listen, but we must say we are no different to any other. We are no different to a C League player. We all have little stories in life. If I run a tea shop and you run a 5-star hotel, we both might have a good story. So unfortunately, yes, in this world, when you bring a known personality, it helps. People might, but we must remind them, no, this is not about because you won. We are here. We are all
totally. I agree with you. There's a beautiful story that that's how I follow these modern day philosophers a little. There's one guy was relating a story. He said the problem in this world, you walk into a tea shop and the guy who makes tea, literally, those yard teas and whatever. That's there's a guy from India. He says you go sit and ask for.
You can't do that with your coffee, by the way.
No, so you ask for a cup of tea. And the guy starts talking to you about Sachin Tendulkar.
Yeah.
But there's a problem there. The guy won't make a proper cup of tea. You see that his job is not to worry about Sachin Tendulkar. Let him do what he wants to do. But just focus concentrate on the job you hand. So there's a biggest problem in our country. As you said, yes, this is not, I have never done this, in my life. Then I started doing it, since I, gave up my job as manager national team. And then I thought, mate, let me do this. And, I started, developing a liking to it. And the whole concept is, if I can inspire someone who's listening out there, it can be one person who's listening out there in the world. Yes, I have achieved my objectives. By the way, Asanga Sneviratne is watching, saying big hi to you.
Yes,
and Sene, and there are a whole lot of other people. I will reply to them, Jules, at the end of the show. They say that we just deviated a little, what I wanted to ask you about. One of the reasons why I brought you on the show, because you're on a big height, how our athletes performed during the SAF games recently. And because you were one of the, the iconic figures, when we look back during SAF games, starting from...
I'm not being rude, but I am going to get some little poster to show you while on this topic. Carry on talking.
Yeah. This, you started your, this... what can I say? Winning medals I think going back to 84 from the first SAF games. If I'm not mistaken, I think you in one of the games, you had 8 goals and it was broken by Matthew Abesing recently, and no one else. And that record was unbroken for years. And this is something that you don't know about. I have my cousin Adrian Jawadna.
Hey.
Ada was my best man.
This kid.
Uncle
Prasanna's
son, that he swam with you. I think he was in your relay team.
One of the best swimmers, most fluent. You have few kids who swim like they are flying through the water, and we tend to chuck around, and he was one of them.
Yeah, he was very graceful, Ada, so I miss him, that he left, and Nanga was also an excellent swimmer.
Forget the name.
What the question I want to ask you, mate, what you did then, and then suddenly, we had a bit of a lull, that our swimmers were not excelling at a safe level. And then suddenly, what happened this time? So we managed to, get some medals and, we made an impact. Where do you reckon what you did and what happened? If there's anything you see that, what's the sudden transformation? Or
I think the 91 SAF game, it's always true when you're hosting, is a host country in the Olympic movement. Whether it's the Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, SAF Games, Olympic Games, the host country tends to prepare themselves a little more. 1991, even though I was swimming abroad and I came down for the meet.
You led our squad, right?
Yeah. I finished my 4 years just before the SAF Games, so I was able to come back and train with my mom. The fact that our netball girls got gold, not netball, volleyball.
Yes.
Our volleyball boys men's team got silver, and it wasn't easy to beat because you have India and Pakistan really on top in that game. Our track and field, we won quite a number of medals. Our swimming team, Deepik and I, won individual races, but we also won a relay. I think that was beautiful. More fun than winning your solo events. The country did well.
Yeah. as a host nation.
Yeah, and then some years ago now we had Mr. Yogananda, who a good friend of mine, a track and field coach, who passed away recently, served the sport for decades. Miss that guy. He told me what happened in 1991 was simple. 2 years before that, they started planning. And then there was success. If you plan, you will do better. It's a simple word. And you can see anywhere, whether it's a business or so. I think what we are lacking in Sri Lanka, which I don't mind talking to you about, what I think the answer to Olympic sport in Sri Lanka is. Now, this SAF Games, look, things went viral soon after a few days of the SAF Games. I know what happens. SAF game comes, they open the files, they call in the association, they started giving athletes a bit of pocket money. All of a sudden, few months to go. What happened is how can you get the Sri Lankan cricket team a month before the Test World Cup? Hey, you better get going and you plan ahead. So what is missing, Sarit, is now, he talked one time, this little poster.
You can show it into the camera, yes, my dear. Go ahead.
Interesting one. And, this is India, 103 medals, 140 crore population. Sri Lanka, 92 medals, 2 crore. And we're like, proud to be Sri Lankan. We are always proud to be Sri Lankan, but statistics is something that people tend to abuse.
Yeah.
And the foolish world of us, we tend to believe everything that is said. It's not the number of medals, because when India competes and they win the gold, we will win a silver or a bronze.
Yeah.
We have the same number as medals as them, almost. Yeah. So it's not a big deal to
go by the number of medals.
But because subsequently, if you look at the medal stallion, this is what is sad for Sri Lanka. It's not here. Is Nepal. Now, back in the days when we competed, Nepal, if you close your eyes and compete, they'll be behind us in any sport.
Yeah.
Whether they were hosting it or not. They hosted it in 2003, I think. They were no good. This time they won 37 gold medals. We have won 17 gold medals.
Even I thought they are the ultimate winners of this competition, despite the fact that they were the host country. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Never.
So I've heard stories like even India, I know for a fact, and a lot of from the track and field runners, I have heard from it. In swimming, I heard some of the other sports. India doesn't even send their best.
Don't send their best.
Don't send their best. They are even considering whether not to compete. Is it a waste of time for them? So I don't know what's going on. The problem with Sri Lanka is now the games are over. We have failed. We'll still close the file and let it be till the next tour comes. We'll organize it. Officials get to go on trips. So bottom line is, I think, Sarit, I'm not sure if it's in the sport of cricket, but Olympic sports, the athletes are serving the officials instead of officials serving the athlete. We heard stories of dengue. I don't know how true this is, but a lot of athletes had been in Nepal, had dengue fever. To see they had been at our stadium, residential, residing. If that is the case, did not somebody not look at the Mozzie situation to take care of athletes, give them good, resting facilities? So huge problems. And if I can tell you the simple answer to Olympic sport, has 3 things that I think, and I've kind of spoken this with others. I said, what do you all think? You have to create competition, and then you move up. A good example, and the only example Sri Lanka has of good competition, is the A-level exam.
Yep.
We're not going to say the A-level system is good.
Yeah, everybody competes.
Everybody competes. So what is the first thing is the calendar is set. The calendar. Sorry. You and I know it's in August. Even though, I wouldn't want to even attempt the exam.
Yeah.
It's in August. It's there. In sport, is the calendar set? No. Even the domestic season now, Jeevan Mendis, cricketer, good friend of mine, said, even when is our domestic season? Now, I know the Australian domestic season starts in around November, goes till about March.
Yeah. Summer, yes. Yeah.
England, because I know the weather, it's their summer. Yeah. They start in probably March, April. They might run till about August.
Yeah.
Even Jeevan said he doesn't know when the domestic season is. It's fluctuating in cricket. You hear it here, hear it there. I've been with the NCC, the committee. There's always this. Don't know if the under 23 team is on in. So there's a lot. You're in the world of cricket. So I don't know, but this is what Jeevan told me, and I still don't know when the local season is.
Which is sad. Yeah, I mean, the time we played, we always knew the calendar was set.
It's a simple calendar. So now domestic and international calendar. International calendar in cricket is set, not in our Olympic sports.
Yeah.
We have nothing. No athlete doesn't know what next year brings. So the calendar is number one. 2 is the rewards. A level has a reward. Look, the best of students will
go to high school, university whatever. Yeah.
Incentives are there.
Yeah.
Rewards are there. Do we have, and they're consistent. Do we have rewards set up that are consistent? In sport, no. Number 3 is transparency. No minister can put their child into university. You look at sport, even in the sport of swimming this time, I heard the minister put somebody in and supposedly known to them or what, I don't know. Absolute daylight robbery. Parents should be ashamed. So if you look at the calendar is not set, rewards are not consistent. Sometimes when you win, they'll say, look, here's 1,000 rupees.
Only if you win.
That is after winning.
After winning, yeah.
After the tour. How much of we have about 1 lakh to give out? Let's divide it amongst the medal winners.
Yeah.
So the incentives are not there. It's not consistent, and sport has zero transparency. Zero. I hear it from every sport. It's just transparent. Let kids get on the block, get into a court, get on the field, play sport, and learn to appreciate what sport is. The winner goes.
As you rightly said at the start, let the best man win. All can't win. They participate, but it doesn't happen. The best man always, doesn't get the due recognition. That's a lack of transparency, as you rightly said. Which is
the next thing is now the government has changed. Who is going to be the next sports minister? What is he going to do?
Yeah.
Now, if the government changes and the education minister comes, a new guy, A level, the system doesn't change. That's set.
Yeah.
It runs.
Yeah.
The country, the entire nation, you go to any town today, posters of tuition masters.
Yeah.
It's an industry.
Jeez.
Simply because they set the calendar, rewards are there, transparency. You do that and our sport will go from here to here. Ask the authorities if they have that. Now that doesn't cost you any money to plan. Now a new minister comes, he will think of his ways of doing it. Then now the previous minister hands over the baton to the new minister. Yeah. He goes back to the starting point. He doesn't run from there on.
So we don't have, not that I don't think, we have, I think, we have proper structures, but the implementation, I don't know. I mean, in cricket, of course, I think, I don't know much about, how it
works. That's what I'm talking about, the Olympics sports.
Yeah.
Cricket, I wouldn't know. I think cricket, my personal view, cricket, rugby, soccer, netball must stand alone. I think cricket can afford themselves. Rugby might need a little more funding from the government, but a proper plan. Soccer, I don't know how much FIFA pays us, but maybe netball, I think it's an amateur sport, but we're doing well. I think
so what you're basically saying is like how it's done in that cricket and rugby and etc. So we should have like a similar structure for the Olympic sports as well, but which is
set the calendar, set the rewards, and be transparent.
There you go. If any authorities, listening to this great man,
it's just that our kids, man, this is their future. This is their turn, not ours. We are done. People served. I mean, we had issues then also. I wouldn't say no.
Yeah.
I faced a bit of injustice, if you consider that as injustice. But yeah, it's so. I mean, our sport is going down like this. Now, if your business is collapsing, either you have to close chapter, or get a loan, but relook at it.
Yeah.
Every year, did you achieve your targets? If you didn't, what are you going to do? R&D, marketing, whatever. In sport, do we ever sit down? And that word high performance in the Olympic sports, we don't have it. It's sad that all the top end athletes, if you look at each other, they are all sad people because they are saying we don't know what is happening.
Sad to hear that. I mean, the same sentiment was shared by Priyantha Ekanayaka last week. I mean, more or less, it's the same thing. We don't, now he's in charge of baseball and what he has to undergo, and it's it's a massive task to get the game, to popularize among at grassroots level, and just he said the same thing. It said even he's talking about that the ministry not having a database of like basic athletes, what is going on, and they're just clueless. I mean, they're doing things for the wrong reasons, and that our sport. You reckon that actually, do you see a dip in our sports, or like that they?
Yeah, obviously, because if you now look at the SAF games, the previous SAF games was horrible. The previous Asian Games, no medal. The Asian Games before that, we won 2 medals thanks to cricket.
Yeah.
Cricket shouldn't be at the Asian Games, but it's still a sport.
Yeah.
But there's only 4 or 5 countries, so there's a good chance that we can bring in a bronze, silver, gold in cricket.
Yeah.
Right. So at the Asian Games, we're bringing 0 medals. India is planning. And look, every Olympics they're winning, bringing home about 3 medals.
Yeah.
They're planning on 10 medals. They'll achieve about 5. They might get 5. We have zero plan, no incentives, no proper structure. And if Nepal has won 37 gold medals and we have won 17, so that the last half games we won 20 odd. But you must see the number of sports we have. There's unlimited. The 500 athletes went.
Yeah.
This time, 500 athletes, I was told. Sri Lanka sent 500 athletes. If I'm right, this is what I heard. Now listen, Matthew Abesingha, super athlete. He won, I think, 7, including 1 relay, which is great for Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So you take 7 of those medals out. From the 17, we'll be down to 10 medals out of 500 athletes. What are we going to sit down and guarantee these guys are close the chapter? So the problem is the education ministry, the sports ministry, and the Olympic committee, they don't work together. There's mistrust. I'll give you a small example. This is very sad that I went on a tour to Rio this year. The World School Swimming Championships. Education ministries are organizing the world over.
Yeah.
Education ministry doesn't give any money, so the schools association went to the sports minister. He gave a 1 lakh each, which probably funds part of their air ticket. And the athletes went. Spent over $2 million. Now, should we go to the world champs when we are not world class? Or should we learn to invest that 2 million rupees in the best way possible for our athletes to go to competitions where they can compete and get a value for money return? You got to think of the young, whether it's the parents' money, sponsors' money, or government money. Now, of course, we went to the games and some of our athletes got in the finals.
Yeah.
Our relay team came 4th at the world. So you come and tell the minister, guess what? 4th. You should have. We can't count. If the best of swimmers from all the countries that education level came, we won't even hit top 40. Countries didn't turn up. So, but the minister is now told, look, guess what, sir? You gave us money and we brought you results. Jai Veva. We are hoodwinking. This is like the statistics. India 100 medals, we are 90 medals. They got 1 billion, we got 20 million. No, because every time in track and field, India sent in track and field this time for the first time, every country could only put 1 athlete. So India, if they win the gold, you have silver and bronze to take home. You're going to take probably one of those. Yeah. So we will match India with those. So this false reporting and statistics is a massive problem. And I don't know, is there anyone who knows high performance sport and will sit down and give the athletes a proper chance? Then we will sign.
And it's a very interesting thing that you said about the guys training and the people going and taking all credit. But if you see some of the guys who have won the medals, take tennis for an example. I know some of those girls, and not because Asank is a good mate of ours. I know how the girls train. I don't think the ministry did anything for that. The girls who won tennis, they train on their own. Mostly,
there's a lot of personal sacrifice, I think. But where is this whole system?
Yeah.
When it comes to trials, people are questioning. How come people are avoiding trials? How come now in swimming, there was a kid, it seems, who got in who wasn't supposed to be in the team? Minister's influence. It is. My question is, how many officials out there, whether it's Ministry of Sport, Education Ministry, or even the Olympic Committee, how many are actually enjoying sport?
True. I was going to ask you, were you involved with the swimming squad? Did you, like, did they consult you as a past swimmer? And, it was.
Look, Charit, obviously this year, I don't know, I've changed my role now. From coaching kids, I've now become, I'm coaching coaches.
Okay.
So we had 4 athletes who were selected from our team. So we were entitled for 1 coach. So I sent our assistant.
Right.
It's been a tough year for me with losing my 2 brothers. My other brother David had his own swimming academy.
That's where I was at CH. I was going to David.
The guy.
I didn't know whether to ask you, like the personal tragedies that tragedies you had one after the other. And I knew both mates. And I mean Jeremy and David, they're good mates of mine.
Guys.
And then your mom, and I suppose it's a very hard, tough time for you.
Yeah. So for me personally, nothing to brag about. I think I come to a stage in life that I want to coach coaches now, make a bigger influence. I'm not saying I'm the top end coach, but I think as a club we might perform better, and I want to just try and give back to the sport a little more. And so, yeah, I mean, they kind of asked me to come into the committee. I just see so much of politics even in our swimming world. I just want to be happy, man. And disagreeing is okay, but are we all in the same page? Probably not.
That's a big problem, isn't it?
Do you want to? I personally feel there is 70% of those kids are not doing sport, like we talked about.
Exactly.
Let's just reach out to them and help them, and let's all do sport. And there are going to be kids who are going to aspire a little more. Yeah, look, we'll help you out. But and the other thing is, Charit, the role of the coach. There's an interesting one that some of us follow. I'll introduce that one to you, called 3-dimensional coaching. Can I talk about it?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, man. Yeah.
So this new concept coming out of the US, it's an online course.
Yeah.
Easy thing to follow. It's a video line. So you got the 3 dimensions. The physical. So as coaches, all of us do the physical the way we know 100%.
Yep.
Because if you're coaching kids, you will just physically you do your stuff.
Yep.
Then the second one is your mind. Psychology. Everyone will do a bit of psychology the way we know,
yes,
to psych kids up to perform better, and etc. The third one is called the relational, the heart. How do you reach out to the heart of the athletes? Now, this nobody would, I think everybody would like to, but we don't know how to. So this course covers the second dimension, psychology, and the third dimension. So in the second dimension, it talks about a nice one about intrinsic and extrinsic values. Why do you do sport? Which is the dominant factor, the intrinsic or the extrinsic? Extrinsic is rewards, to be selected into the A team, to win a medal, to get a tour, to break a record. Nothing wrong. These are what we like. But the problem with extrinsic values are you'll always want more and more. So this say if I win 2 medals, at the next year same meet, 2 medals won't be happy. I want 3. So this is nothing wrong. But now the intrinsic is, I like to hang out with my teammates. I love the coach, fellows helping me or ladies helping me to be a better athlete. I just love being there. Now, what is the dominant reason you do sport? If it's extrinsic, more and more people are not going to be happy. Those rewards are not going to always come.
Yeah.
So if it's the dominant reason you do it, you're going to pull out. That's what's happening in America. If they're pushed towards this universities and the scholarships and whatnot. So in high school, do sport. Coach is promising the earth to the parent and the child come to me. Whereas intrinsic is, I just want to hang out and play sport. So if the intrinsic is the dominant reason, no matter what problems come, whether you win or you lose, that's what I said at Royal, whether we were the fastest swimmers later on or not as fast as earlier, because every day was still the same. So so the question is asked now, Charit. Very radical question, huh? Pardon me. As a coach, at your death, your athletes come to see you.
Yep.
What would you want to hear them say? Probably they'll talk about, Coach so-and-so helped me to achieve something. Get to the Olympics, represent the country, do, be a national champion or do something. Coach X helped me to be mentally tough. A lot of us at the end of our career, what did sports give us? We are mentally tough. Now, nothing wrong in either one of those.
Yeah.
Third one, They'll say, you know what, Coach X helped me to be. Today I'm a father, and I'm a good father thanks to my coach who helped me with some of those values. What would you want to hear at your deathbed?
I was about to say it, mate. You probably would have seen my ex-coach, Mr. Lionel Mendes, great Lionel Mendes, who used to, even after he left Anand, then, he had academy at NCC.
He and I were friends. Our pool was next door.
Exactly.
Love the guy.
If you ask me, yes, we won so many championships, under Mr. Mendes's tenure as our head coach or whatever, master in charge. But one thing I remember, what I am today, forget cricket, mate. 99% of what that man taught me off the field, that made me a man. My ethics, my values, all. When I look back, it was Mr. Lionel Mendes. I can say he was the ultimate coach, and who instilled great values in us. I think there are lots of Anandians who came out during my era. We don't look up to Sir as as a great cricketing coach, but he's the discipline, and the world he taught us is exceptional, I would say, exemplary. That he's the man. I think that's what you're talking about as a coach. Right?
Simply, so there is a word, technical word is, are you a transactional coach or a transformational coach? So what I realized was I was a transactional coach. Parent brings the kid to us. We help the kid to swim faster. There is a monthly transaction or a financial transaction. In turn, I help the child swim faster. In the meantime, it helps my ego as well. Not all egos are bad.
Yeah.
Or transformational. You know what? Even though I'm going to do my utmost to help that child be better in sport, my number one target is to make this kid become a superhuman being, a person of empathy and integrity. Or, you know what? Even at Visakha, where we host, we help them with the swimming program. The other day, I've been telling a few parents, look, do you want to win meets, or shall we try to win meets, come what may? What if we can coach these kids to be the best mothers in the future? Now, the other day, a father came up to me and said, Sir, we are going after these results and results. If we put a priority that we want to make good citizens and use our platform as coaches, because we can influence them, they'll listen to us. So we got to figure out now why. And there's a couple of us coaches who are now into this. We have discussions, we have chats. A good friend of mine, Shamli Nawaz, has, he did. So even yesterday I was with him, and he was talking about one of his players whose mother her business has collapsed. The boy is in trauma. Now Shamli is being a father figure, forgetting the sport. This child needs emotional support, and he's sharing that with me. I'm not rugby tips, but
yeah.
And I think we must now start talking about the fact that we have to work on the third dimension. There is no lack of physical ability, mental ability. Goodness is what is missing in our world. I am one of them who wants to change, because I just saw myself like, buddy, I need to change. So it doesn't, you know what, when you make a habit out of something, good or bad.
Yeah.
And I think I was a very, very good example of a transactional coach. I was living my life through children. I realized, and I'm like, you know what, we'll train hard, but buddy, you because you want to train hard. We'll do our best, but you know what, I want you to help to become a person of empathy and integrity.
It's brilliant. I think
then to figure out how that is being used in training. This is what the three-dimensional coaching helps you to put it into practice.
So I think you have found your calling you do enjoy your role as a coach more than an excellent swimmer in the past. Which role do you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, one part of Kasi Karsten, who was the chaplain for the South African rugby, Asanga knows him, rugby, the 95 rugby team, Invictus here, very powerful guy. He comes to Sri Lanka quite often. We do a training for parenting, fathers. I said, Kasi, what about my life? What do I do? About 3 years ago, he said, Julian, you competed once. Now you're coaching kids.
Yeah.
It's time that you coach coaches. And what I see is, even in the situation, what happened in our family, my two brothers dying, David being a swimming coach, I had to take over his program. I was drowning, guys, coaching kids, and I'm trying to manage all this. Then I remembered, yes, now what I'm doing is I'm coaching coaches. So life is such that you move on, and is it a calling? It's for me, it's a transformation slowly to become that person. But I don't want to become that person and then teach while I'm changing, I will journey. So a lot of times I'm a bit of a temper. If I even a little rude to an athlete today or shout and I see there's a long face and I was like, oh gosh, what did I just say? And sometimes the next day I come and say, hey, sorry for what I said. I'm slowly changing. It won't happen overnight. But to understand why we do this, and if you want to change culture in Sri Lanka, if all of us coaches become coaches of transformational coaches, we can change society.
You're a coach with a human touch, and it's great to hear.
You and I both need to do this.
I guess that's what we're missing sometimes.
Why? Look, if you look at some of our top end athletes, very successful. Is there peace at home? So, what is real success?
It's a good question, mate. What is real success in life? That's we are all striving for. Is looking. What's real success is. And just to let you know that before you came on the show, there were so many people who wrote to me, and there was one guy who asked Julian about a guy called Asela Pereira from, I think he's a coach. He's coaching Prince of Wales now. He's a
Asela. Oh. Like Adrian, buddy, another one of those swimmers who floated in water. He is Asela who swam in the rivers of Panadura.
That's right. Yes. And there's another guy who wrote, Mal Kulasekara, that he said that if not for you and your mom, that that they used to swim and that you had how you helped so many rural the swimmers to come up in life. That what these people don't know what you guys have done.
I don't know what we did, but if somebody was influenced, why not?
They immensely, and they wanted me to.
I remember back at Royal, our biggest competitor was the Dolphin Aquatics team from Ambalanguda. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
At nationals, we had to race them, and we were going for the title. They are swimming in rivers, the Ambalanguda River.
Yeah.
We swim in a pool. They used to come and beat us.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even when they come to Columbus, some of them stay at our house. Over the weekends, we go to Ambalanguda. Hey, free accommodation, no money to go and stay in a hotel. So here we had the beach at Ambalanguda. So till today, we are friends.
It's amazing, mate. When I look back, I'm not going to find fault with any of my teammates at Anand, but I hang out a lot with most of the other guys whom I played with, from Rohan Buljans to Ravi Dizillas to Kapil Vijay Gunawardhanas, and Asangasan Viratnas, and most of them are from other schools that that you build relationships, and I think that's something the kids nowadays miss. That they all confine into their own little group and don't have friends outside their circle.
No, I remember, this is a good example, 91 SAF. It was during December.
Yeah.
So it started on the 20th, 21st or something. Then we competed for a few days. Then Christmas Day was a break for all sports.
Right, yes.
And then we went on for a few more days.
Yeah.
Before 31st, we are happy it finished. Now, Xavier, who I raced with, and he is the guy I had to race with, and we were going to clash in the 200-meter freestyle. And on Christmas Day, we all went to church together. Came back.
That was the camaraderie we had, the good old days. The competition was something else.
Yeah, yes, you race on the block, but surely, man, life goes beyond just the lane.
That's a very good, I hope people out there listening, at the moment, what's going on in this country, people divided, into...
We have to appreciate competition now.
It's important in life.
Shamli again yesterday was telling me, so when I meet Shamli, he and I just talk about life coaching.
Yeah.
I love, because both of us love it. Yes, we want to do the best we can on the field, and that we are serious about.
Yeah.
But he said how some of the players don't like that other team because they're doing well. So Shamli said, well, obviously you know the opponent for some promises. He said, boys, respect them. They train hard. They're up there. Exactly. You know what? Go to the event with a smile and start tackling them hard. Respect, because if your opponent doesn't come on the field, you're not going to have a game.
Sure.
I think New Zealand now doesn't sledge. I don't know. Is that true or not?
In cricket or rugby?
Cricket.
In cricket. I haven't actually. I mean, I would. I have been the national team manager when Kiwis toured Sri Lanka a couple of times. Yeah. I would rate them very high. I mean, very nice set of boys. And Kane Williams and Aaron, they all come with the leadership, and they're brilliant set of boys. And it's all come with the leadership itself. You look at politically and how they face the situation when they had a disaster, and how everyone stood up as one, as a nation, and how they came out of it. it shows the character of the people in that country, mate.
You never say you don't have enough people in your country. They talk about 3 million.
Yeah, barely less than 4 million people. Yes.
I think per capita at the Olympics they win more medals. But they seem like, and the Irish, if you look at the Irish, they seem to enjoy life more than they'll compete well.
Yep.
It's obviously life is more important. And
Listen, if you, I mean, I lived some time in Africa, and the famous saying in Swahili, it's a Hakuna Matata. There are no worries in Africa. I mean, people may be very poor, but nobody takes life that that seriously, because life goes on. That's I think we as people, as Sri Lankans, whether it's sports or work or education, that we miss the fun part of it.
Sri Lanka, I think we have a similar tagline: "Never give up."
Banjo. Yeah, we are islanders.
We are an island nation. You're right.
Yeah.
I think we are like the Polynesians. You know what? Like our poe, we need our poe, man. To have a good day.
Yeah, midweek poes, always, it's a blessing.
It's a beautiful country.
I hope that we as a nation, that as you rightly said, that the reason why I bring people like you who could inspire others, the others out there can listen to you and learn something, and put things in the right perspective, and we do the right thing. And you rightly said, we have lived our lives, and all what we left are our children, and let them grow the right way, and see what the world is all about. And
sports can teach us so much about what the community needs to be, and it's about competing on an equal platform, recognizing if you win, you win, others recognize you for that. If you don't win, you recognize the others who have won. Just appreciating effort and the fact that we can compete. So in business, why can't we compete in a way to build the industry? So we are in the cricketing world, you and I, cricket coaches. So without trying to fight for a share of the pie, why can't we try and create an environment where the pie might get bigger?
Sure.
So it's not like I need to be the biggest shareholder. I think it's this thing that I want to be number one. No. Gosh, if you're a company who's not number one, but you're very socially oriented, I think that's a bigger success.
I agree with you. And the other problem we have with the coaches nowadays, I don't want to give any names here, that the people being very money oriented, so your job for the passion for the sport, and whatever becomes secondary, because you're more focused on the pay packet, that you're going to get at the end of the day. I'm not finding any fault. People, I'm all for people getting paid. I think one of the biggest problems we have in this country, you bring a foreign coach, right? We always, we tend to undermine our very own, and our guys never get the due recognition or what they're worth of. I'm all for it. If our guys are good enough, pay them well, so that that part of that their problems taken care by the system itself.
Yeah.
But they should not be only money oriented. That's because then what happens is that the talk of the return on investment comes in. You are under obligation, because every time you go out there, you being a high profile coach, perhaps overpaid, and then you are expected to deliver. Then you lose your focus, you lose your human values. All those factors come in. Now I think what you said, like you being a coach, I know you, mate. I've been to your academies. You are never money oriented. That you need money to live. So
it's interesting, for sure. Go ahead. I love what you're saying.
This what I'm saying is like you are more focused in spreading the sport around, building up the humanity in these athletes, and someday turning out them as great human beings. That's more important to you than the money you earn. And I to give you a good example, I said wear your own academy t-shirt. You said I don't have one. Whereas if you go to other academies, you see nothing but big slogans and this academy, that academy. It's all money making, massive industry. It's like the tuition, like what is going on. Thousands of people go there, and as you rightly said about the A levels, see how many good, decent human beings come out of all those schools after doing A levels. And like again, like Adam Holyoke said, either you are an academic or you are a sporting personality, you still become a great human being with good human values. It's not happening these days. It's the saddest part. I don't know, Julian, how you feel about that.
I mean, again, what is success? So if I have a tea shop and you run a 5-star hotel and you're running it in not the best of ways, but you're in a Mercedes Benz, I run my tea shop the best I can, and I'm on a bicycle, and then I was able to buy now a second-hand bike.
Yeah.
We both stop at a traffic light. People are going to look at you, not me. But what is success then? Honestly, what, I'm not saying don't work hard. I think we should work hard. We should find time for hobbies. If your family, have time for family, know what a family is. I think the family is the most important thing in the country.
Yeah.
There has to be peace at home, man. Today, the biggest issue, I heard there is 400 divorces a day. I'm not going to condemn anyone. My parents went through a tough time in life. Thankfully, they came together when we were young. It doesn't happen with every family. And, it's just like, so then we talk about our achievements, financial, sports, and that's what we carry everywhere. Well, the home is crumbling. Honestly, man. We had this year, one of our top athletes attempted suicide, a girl. Relational issues with the father, but very close to me, and thankfully she opened up. Failed suicide. But the year before, she was touring Sri Lanka. So crazy, man.
Perhaps the materialistic values have overtaken our human values, and that's
so
the biggest problem.
One day I got about 10 of our girls, and I said, look, how many of you all have problems in your life you want solved that you don't want to share with me? More than half of them put their hand up. They won't share it with me, but they might be very, very personal. What is it? I don't know. So this whole thing is we are performing, but man, parents are abusing children, trying to use them to achieve their targets in sport.
True.
So what we tell our parents is, look, the only thing you will come and tell me about a child's performance, the first thing you got to say is, look, thanks, coach, my child enjoyed the competition. So we are starting that now. Then talk about the result. We have another rule. On your way home, after competition or training, no talking about the sport. Talk about everything. The child who's just competed, who's come out, doesn't need another lecture.
True. Yep.
And what if the father plays some music and they're dancing in the car and go for an ice cream? Or that's what children want. They'll compete. They're very professional on the block, on the field.
Switch on and switch off.
Once they come out, man, they're kids again. But we want to go lecturing them, and so parents have to become grandparents. You look at any grandparent. This has been researched in the US. What is the most memorable moment in your sporting career? Every person will have a good story.
Yeah.
What's the moment you want to forget the most? The most common answer is a drive back home. Think about it. How many fathers are telling the child off?
Yep.
Lecturing.
I can relate to that.
And these kids are saying, Dad, I never asked you for that. I just want to, can we have just be dad and child, or father, daughter, father, son, mother, son?
When you said that, there's a funny story. A few days back at the club, I was talking to Shammi, and we were having a chat, and Shammi's dad, hardcore. I mean, he was diehard Nalanda, and he used to come on his motorcycle, park his bike next to the side screen, watch Shammi play, and he do anything, for the Nalanda team. Then eventually Shammi started playing for CCC, and I ended up playing under Shammi, and a few years. And uncle still used to come on his big BSA to come and park his bike and watch. And the day I get 100, he said, "Memory," and he said, "Give me, that time $1,000." I said, "Well played." Bagila bipang one ka kapang. That's you get out for a duck, mate. You wouldn't look at uncle. He can be your worst enemy, but. To me, it was so fun. Like you see Chammi's father there, you tend to ignore him. You don't look at him. That he would call and say,
if you can make something funny out of it, excellent.
I know. I mean, it's a great story, but the man's heart was in the right place. Bless him. He's no longer there. He's a top diehard fan.
Beautiful.
I mean, that's all we had. Those days. I still remember playing for CCC. Unlike now, which is sad. So many cricketers whom I've spoken to now, there's no club loyalty. That the bunch of players you see one season, the next club pays him 500 rupees more. They're gone. I don't know as a coach how you build that team, about all those values we spoke about. There is absolute no affiliation to the club, the guys who play. But during our time, all Asanga, myself, Sumitra, and we all played for seasons, one season after the other. And we were all waiting after the match. We didn't have money to buy a beer or, soft drink or whatever. It was the the fans who looked after us, So, but we had a lot of passion playing, whether it's on the big match or playing Royal. Looking back, some of those friendships that we built up, the best times, that not the big scores that we got or the records we broke or the number of trophies that we won. It really doesn't matter. Looking back, the great friendships. As I said, Willie would still ask me, like every 2 weeks, Mike, do you want to come for a drink? No, you want to come for dinner? And that's the type of relationship we have had.
Yeah. So now you're retired. How many years?
Long time ago, mate.
Long time ago, and you're still talking about your club days,
Yeah.
school days. Now, how many of today's club players, 20 years down the road, will have a good chat about the club days?
No.
I'm with the NCC in the committee as well, and I've seen this whole cricketing issue is now a tough one. It's like, how much are you paying? If you're not paying, I'm not here. So
it's all about money.
And I don't blame kids. I mean, obviously, the finances are there, but then we must try and still balance things out. I don't know how, but it needs addressing. We need to sit down.
Yeah.
And so when we know there are issues, sit down and try and talk it out and try and figure out. And I think today, it's not about those days. In our days, the coach says, do it, and we do it.
Yes.
Today, you got to connect. You can't just tell an athlete or a cricketer today, do it.
Yeah.
You got to convince, you got to become a friend with the person and give reasons to why you do things. And it's a very different way. Now, I think Jose Mourinho, our soccer coach, now gone to Tottenham.
Yeah. Do you follow the British football?
That's because right, I'm an Arsenal fan, and we.
Good luck to you, man.
But
that's something you don't want to talk about.
Exactly. No, we'll come through it. But interesting moments. How important is the coach? Because you can have your superstars. So, and I think what Mourinho was doing was 10 years ago, you could tell the players. Robbie Keane would say it at United. Coach says, and you do it. So Mourinho continued that. When he at Chelsea, latterly had problems. He went to Manchester. Now he's come back to Tottenham and he says, I won't make those mistakes again.
Yeah.
Now you see him with his arm around players and less of me. He's more of the team.
Yeah.
And it's almost, I think he's building relationships. Because 2 years ago at Manchester, I think it was almost like you do it or you go home.
My way or highway, mate.
So these young kids are saying, no, buddy, things have changed.
I know.
And now Murray, it will be interesting what he does. And I think he has changed his role and it's a pressure job for sure.
Who you are, I mean, you can be the greatest, but the fact is, the world is evolving.
Things have changed. You can't.
Things are changing every minute. It's not the same game that we played 30 years back. It's what's happening out there.
And I think the key thing is we can't just tell athletes today or players, do it. Coach says, do it, and we do it.
Yep.
Now it has come to you build relationships and you win their heart over. Now they will compete.
Totally agree with you, man. Jules, you had your doubts, when you came on the show. How the hell am I going to talk to you for 1 hour? I'm not used to that kind of thing. You wouldn't believe that you had spoken to me for 1 hour, 20 minutes.
Oh, nighttime. Sleep time. No, buddy, I really like it. But see, the whole thing is about the passion of sport. And I think, gosh, I love sport, but I love to talk about this third dimension. Not that we are going to train less. We must train at our utmost. If the kids say, look, I want to train at this level, we'll support you.
Yeah.
But let's put a priority as to what winning is, what is success. And at the end of the day, if you can coach kids to become super dad, super mom, I'm not trying to be super spiritual. We all are struggling with that. We got to prioritize and ask ourselves, why are we doing it? Are we into a transactional world? Transformational world? Which one do you want? I want to be transformational. So I'm slowly.
I share the same sentiment with you, mate. That, I always say that I love this song by UB40, because that I'm a part-time DJ. The more I learn, less I know. Just every day.
Hey, that's a nice song. I don't know if I know the melody. The more I learn,
the more I learn, less I know. Just the old song. Just top classic hit. So that's like a mantra that I live every day. And I don't know when I look back. And the other thing is the biggest problem that I've seen in our people. If you don't know something, they are reluctant to say, I don't know. And, they bring all other jargon to cover up that your limitation. It's not a limitation. There is absolutely no way that you would know everything in this world. And I think, it's as a human, if you have the guts to say, I don't know.
Beautiful if you can admit to
the
fact that, hey, but let me find out and come back to you.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a different.
That's the way to go.
But don't hoodwink. But I think you can't hoodwink kids anymore. You can't. They are smart, man. They are smart. So they are looking at a genuine person. Come, help me through life, and I'll journey with you.
I agree with you. I mean, as team manager, national team manager, the
Massive
relationship.
role.
I think that I believe in human relationships, and it's just like a coach, and it's several roles that you got to play. Sometimes it's it's a fatherly like a role that you elderly role that you play. Sometimes you're a friend. Sometimes you're a mentor. That there's so many roles put together. So it's at times it's tough. Then before we started this chat, you asked me what my future plans are. No, I have not given up complete hope, getting there to Sri Lanka cricket. But given a chance, I would work in like a lower team, A team, because that gives me the pleasure that we spoke about, satisfaction, being there, doing something really meaningful. So I think we are on the same on the same page professionally, and that athletically, and there's no wonder I'm not calling as successful as you are as an athlete. And Jules, before you wind up, wish you all the very best, mate. That I know that
super great. I mean, time flew, didn't it?
Well, and the other thing,
we gone more than an hour.
Exactly. When you are in the zone, there is no time. We didn't feel the time, passing by. That's I enjoyed listening to you. I learned so much every time I speak to my guests. I learned so much which I didn't know. I mean, I'm so grateful to you and to the rest of the guys who came on my show, made it a success. In my view, it's a success. There, I have my limitations, but I keep striving to get better.
You're operating this from your home, humble home. You got your gym at the back. You just want to share and see, the whole thing is we got to share, we got to discuss, and you are through media taking the message out. And this is the beautiful thing. The guy, the young Sri Lankan, we want to wish him all success because he's left his comfort zone in Australia. Maybe with a business mind, but I think he left his comfort zone.
He did. He did, mate. That I put his, that is, if people can see Staunch. Yeah, Staunch. That's his brand name, just to give the boy a bit of exposure. Yeah. And he's going through a very hard time. We wish him well. I wished him well. I'm sure he'll be a superstar in time to come.
The whole thing is, I remember when I studied in the US, quick one.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I was on scholarship. I went there expecting myself to go to another level. And I just went from there, where I was, I just went down like this. I didn't even maintain my performance. Yeah. I'll tell you what happened was simple. I used to survive on $2 a day. $2 a day. $15 my mother would send me a week. I had to go shopping with $15 and shop. In America, you can survive, but you can't be an athlete with that.
Sure. Yeah.
So I struggled and I went. Yeah. And that's the beauty. I think that's the beauty of my sporting career. You know what? When I wouldn't say no food, or when I was struggling in sport, a struggle is always difficult. No, but the good days, they were all the same because every day I used to hang out with a bunch of boys and girls in the university. I loved it because 4 years and, compete with a bunch of guys and, so here's the deal. What's Mr. Staunch? What's his name? Sahan came down to eating six string hoppers. Beautiful story. He's going to come through.
Yep, he has to. I mean, we wish him well, and
he will have his 60 string hoppers soon. But that's you got to go through that storm.
Yep,
go through it. Don't go around it. Go backwards. Go through it, and live within your means. He's living within his means. Sure. He can only afford his 6 string hoppers today. Mommy, send me some money from Australia.
He lives all by himself. No mom, no dad. He lives on our own uncle. Yeah.
I said I went to the US and I came back with a PhD.
Yeah.
There we go. Pigan Hodana diploma. I had to wash plays in between training sessions to find that $2.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beauty.
And if you don't struggle in life, I don't think you'll ever have doesn't mean that you have to struggle all your life.
Yeah,
but you don't have a story to tell.
The nice thing is, yes, I'm struggling in the team. They expect me to perform because I'm on scholarship.
Yeah.
But my coach, my teammates looked at me the same always. And I thought, man, this is cool.
Julian, it's a pleasure talking to you, mate. Thanks for coming, once again. And I know that you're a busy man, just trying to balance so many acts in life, that what you went through, that I wish you well. Nothing but the best. Anytime that that in my own small way that I can do for you, that I'm there for you. And more than anything else, I'm so grateful that that you took your time off and spend time with me
At your home. Beautiful place.
Thank you very much, mate. And before we sign off, there are so many people who have sent messages and so thanks to all of them. Jules, I think I'll try to tag you back. That's the
yeah. I'll have to put it on my face. Anyway, I'm not tech savvy, so I don't know how this works.
I will do that. But anyway, in my first in my comments that I put Julian Bolling, but I will go back and tag you. Like once this is over. Anyway, it will be there. It will be saved. So even if the people who missed it, because there are so many people who said we'll watch it, so it will be on my wall or on your wall that people can watch it. And I hope they listen to you and listen to the words of wisdom and take it to the next level.
Any of that,
right? Thank you very much.
Thanks,
and people.
Bless you.
Thanks. Bless you too, man. That's always a pleasure having you. And
keep up the good work, man. I love what you do.
If I don't see you before Christmas, Merry Christmas.
All the best. It's a cold season. Our little winter. Weather's kind of nice now.
How the kids are faring in early morning coming for a swim? The water must be cold.
We are okay. It's a little cold, but you got to think of the kids in Kandy. They might be struggling a little more than us.
I guess so. Yeah.
Somebody had taken the Thomian rugby players to Gurutalawa last week, and you had seen at 5 in the morning in the Gurutalawa pool, kids getting in. Now that can be.
That's conditioning, mate. Put down the conditioning. That's how you wither that. The cold water.
It toughens you up.
Toughens you up. There you go, mate. Yeah. All right. So everybody who's listening out there, if I don't talk to you again, if I don't have another guest before Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Look after yourself. If you're driving around, be careful.
It doesn't have to be your fault, huh?
Yeah.
Be in an accident.
Yeah. So take care of yourself, and until next time, signing you off. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.